Nerds and geeks, so sorry we are late because we were actually having a full-on show in my mind. And then I looked over to the right and it said go live. And I'm like, we are live. And I'm like, oh no, we are not. Damn it, Tuala. You and your inability to understand streaming. Okay, it is the
The
legendary
irony is that's what we were talking
Nerd-O-Roundtable.
about, is streaming.
Yours truly, King Nerd and Twilight Sharp in the building, joined by Mo Kelly, Dr. Liz from the Freeway. We were well engrossed in a conversation regarding Seedance and the absolute explosion of this Chinese AI app that is used to develop content. Where right now you have people across the globe who are creating their own mini movies, full on feature productions using established characters from Superman, One Punch Man, everything in between, making their own revisions of Titanic. I saw where they had taken a whole scene from Titanic where Leo actually lived. It was absolutely crazy. Seedance is the next level and the next phase, heading towards the end and the decimation of Hollywood. We were talking about how the music industry was absolutely destroyed when the digital age came to fruition after Napster, and then you had iTunes and everything else, and then you lost record stores, you lost the music industry as a whole for the most part. And then when you have all these apps where artists are able to mix and master at home from Pro Tools and the like, you don't have recording studios. It's the music industry, from what we knew it as and what we knew it to be, it was absolutely destroyed when the digital age came around. And right now, if you think about how Hollywood as a whole is pushing back against AI, where you have lots of creators, you have lots of filmmakers saying AI is not the way to go. We hate AI. You know, Hollywood is so anti AI every time you turn around, and it's like, why does Hollywood hate AI, or why are they trying to ban AI? Why is AMC theaters go up in arms about not showing a AI created short? Why are writers and you know the all the unions, you know, against AI? Because just like the music industry, that is no longer what it was. Hollywood is on the precipice of being absolutely destroyed. Welcoming to the show, Tom is talking Cunningham, who has missed a flight but is able to join the show. How you doing, brother?
All right, be back. My flight was canceled. I ain't missed shit.
Damn it, canceled. That's right. You had to deplane. You were on the plane.
I deplaned twice.
Oh shit. Oh, that ain't right. That ain't right.
No, that's right. Color Purple. God is trying to tell you something. So
hey,
it's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, don't fight.
All I was thinking was Final Destination, Bloodlines, and I was like, that was the loop that began the whole thing. So let me off the flight, and I got to feel snowflakes on my face for the first time in more than a decade. So you know, hey.
Well, there you go. Rest in peace, Richie Valens. He got on the plane. You know,
listen,
so, look, Tom is here. Tom is here. We were just getting started. Actually,
I heard.
Tom, because you know, I'm not you, and I didn't know how to start it off correctly. And Mo was actually I apologize truly, Mo, for cutting you off, because you were really tearing into what it is that we are seeing now with the proliferation of these AI apps, especially with Seedance 2.0.
Yeah, automation has always killed jobs and with it killed industries, but AI has the exponentially increasing the rate in which that is going to happen. And I was saying that I shared some videos in our personal text chat where you saw these seemingly very sophisticated renditions of movies or characters or scenes, which would probably cost an average studio hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce. And I was making the point, let's say you needed Tom Holland to come back for a reshoot or something for this post-production mocap suit thing. You don't need to do that anymore. There is enough out there where they can create these things in perpetuity without real contributions from creators or actual people. And I don't think you can undo this. You can't put the shit back in the horse at this point. wild. And to your point, as I close here, Twala, the comparison with the music industry was one scared of collapsing in on itself because they could not regulate Napster or song sharing. Like that, I would say the movie industry is worried about, yes, loss of jobs, but also loss of revenue, because then you have all these independent creators creating full-blown movies that don't need an actual movie theater, that don't need an actual movie studio, and go direct to the public. And that is going to hasten the demise of Hollywood as we know it. It will continue on, but just not as it is.
Well, when you look at how much content right now is received on people's phones, right? When you look at how much time young people spend on their phones, and how right now the new wave of receiving content is on your phone. Disney has announced that they are going to relaunch, or they're going to tool their app so that all their content is viewable on phones now. So you don't have to turn it sideways. You can just keep it upright, and you're going to get the same, great viewing spectrum and ratio and all that kind of good stuff. I think Netflix is launching a phone-based version of their app, and all these
So it's
other
like
apps are
Quibi.
doing the same.
So they're
Quibi.
taking a stance. Don't you guys remember Quibi was launched right before the pandemic?
No, I do.
And they had great shows. They actually were nominated for some of their shows. They had great programming. I watched it, and the thing that I
Quibi
loved the
was
most
just
about
on
it,
phones.
yeah, and it was every episode was no more than like 8 or 9 minutes. I thought it was a fantastic idea because it was supposed to have, the thought is you are waiting at a bus stop and you can get a whole episode of a show in by the time your bus or the train picked up, or if you are on an Uber wait or something to that effect. And everything is like supposed to be in these nice little segments. Lawrence Fishburne show won or was nominated for something and actually won. Like, I mean, it was a really good, they had really good TV programming. The problem is the pandemic did it in. Everybody didn't need long excerpt. I mean, like, look, these little short tidbits. We were at the house, but it seems like that's what they're trying to bring. They're trying to take a stab at the same concept of Quibi.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, with
Well, and
Seedance and what you can do with Seedance is an app where you can create and generate content. You can use established IPs to do whatever it is you want to do. You can rewrite entire scenes of films. You can create you can actually take a whole episode of say, what's the show that I hated the way it ended? With the Knights and the Dragons and shit. What's that one called?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. If you
Knights
hated
and the
the ending of Game of Thrones the way I hated the ending of Game of Thrones, you can literally rewrite that entire thing and have it go out the way you wanted it to go out. It's that intense. You can take existing actors and actually put them in scenes that you want them to be in. That's how insane this app is. That's what's got Hollywood shook.
Well, and the thing that's interesting to me, because Snapchat also did dip their toes into producing short form serialized content. Quibi and Snapchat were both kind of doing it at the same time. And Snapchat, which I think has fallen off in terms of its widespread adoption. I think TikTok kind of pushed Snapchat to the fringes. Because the main appeal of Snapchat is that it was particularly transitory in that, your snaps would disappear forever, within a day or whatever. And that to me, as a person, was not very appealing. And with Instagram and TikTok, I think perhaps it's a little less relevant, but they also did a series of episodic shows that were Quibi in style. And the thing that is uniquely suited about Seedance too is that it would be a lot harder to stitch together 2 hours of a narrative that made sense without some of the creativity of an actual writer and a director. You're depending on a computer to do stuff. And for a long-term thing, that's a lot more challenging. But in the terms of, like I said in our chat, of like a Ready Player One thing, where I want to see Optimus fighting Batman and Thor and Darth Vader, and it doesn't have to make any sense. It's just some cool stuff to look at. This is really, really well suited to that. And I shared, I don't know if you all saw it, but I shared a recreation of One Punch Man. And One Punch Man is kind of unique in that everybody's already bemoaning the fact that it's gone down in quality and it takes forever to get seasons out. But they recreated a classic sequence in One Punch Man, and it looks so much better than the original animated version. It looks fire.
And when you see the original one that they did, they have more than one. That one that you shared with us is a Seedance version of one that they shot themselves. They had shot one, and then they said, okay, well, now we got Seedance 2.0. Now we're really gonna amp up the animation, which is why this app is so dope.
It's amazing that, you know, from one perspective, as a creator who would like to not be limited by the studio system and would like to not be limited in terms of vision, you know, to have an idea in a script that would cost millions of dollars, and, you know, as a proof of concept, even just to do like a couple of scenes that would be heavily CGI intense, to be able to do that just to show how cool it could look. I see that there's kind of a bridge, but the problem is that as the AI learns, and as the AI, you know, especially if you feed your own work into it to get it to do something beyond a prompt, you give it a script and say, you know, I want these kind of shots, then it's learning from you, and then eventually it won't need you. And I think the uncanny valley part of it is that when the sequences that I saw of them just recreating the One Punch Man, it led me down a kind of a rabbit hole. And somebody did a trailer of One Punch Man with Jason Statham as One Punch Man, which is an extraordinarily bad idea. And then they had Tom Holland looking like Tom Holland as Genos. And then they had Pedro Pascal as another person. And it was like, that didn't work, because Jason Statham is not One Punch Man. One Punch Man is not muscular like that. One Punch Man is thin, and the whole thing is that he doesn't have muscles. He just has will.
But that's the end of screen tests as we know it. What you're saying, you don't need to have Tom Cruise, you know, put on a costume to see well maybe he will work as what would he look like? Yeah.
Well, and the point of I guess concern when you look at a lot of the articles that picture and paint Hollywood as being afraid of Seedance isn't what Seedance is doing now. And Seedance may not be the app that does it, just like, you know, Napster wasn't in the end the app that did it. iTunes is the one that became the global and most popular known sharing app, and app for sharing and purchasing and getting music and the like. What an app like Seedance does is it could inspire the next, and as Seedance develops, they could say, hey, look at what we're doing right now with shorts. Let's start enhancing the innate technology and the innate capability of the app so individuals can do their own films. If you can say, hey, you, Tom, who you are a filmmaker, if you have an idea of what you want your main character to look like, if you want all the leads, the backgrounds, all this, you can start, because you are a filmmaker, you know what your scenes are like, you know where you want this to be shot. You can say, you know what, jazzy restaurant, smoky, band playing, lead walks in, you know, he's tall, scar on his right eye. You can create all of that, and you can start building out scene for scene your movie, and then put it all together in an end. This is what Hollywood is afraid of. The jokes and the funny things we're seeing right now, with Jason Bourne fighting Ethan Hunt. That's all fun and dandy right now, because that's not something that, as an individual, that's not something I can get away with. I'll be sued, you know, for life if I do my own Mission Impossible film using Seedance. I can't do it. But If I say, you know what, I want to have a spy thriller, and I want it to be like this, and I want this and this, and if I can start feeding an app like a Seedance enough content and create, if I do an episodic where I do every week, you get a new episode of this serial that I've created, and people start tuning in and checking it out. Okay, this is where studios become afraid, as more and more people are saying, yeah, I'm okay, I'm going to a theater, as we're getting less and less big blockbusters. This year we're getting so few blockbusters. It's mind-blowing how few how are we getting? No, we're not even, that's even next year. We're getting shit this year. Okay, we're getting a couple and that's it. And then it's like you guys just stay at home and watch all these other indie films. I'm talking about where you have entire studio lots right now going up for sale because nothing's being shot there. Well, you have someone like a Tyler Perry who has invested heavily into AI apps to start saying, hey, it's going to save me a whole lot of money for locations, for everything else. If I could start using AI to polish up my scenes and all this. This is Tyler Creator, someone who
Tyler
has made
Perry
a
is a
fortune
terrible
by
example.
doing but Tyler Perry is a great
No,
example
because Tyler Perry could
Perry
use AI to add water on Taraji P. Henson's dress when she comes out of the water on
One of his
and
bad
and
movies.
that's what he's
horrible
using
movie.
it for. Tyler Perry
He
says he's using
already
it to
is
cut all
a
the corners.
he already cuts corners with a 3-day film shoot and the moving wigs and the everything else. I mean,
And
but
now
I
he can
get your
fix all that.
point.
Yeah.
But I'm
Digital
he's
wigs will
not
be
gonna fix it.
fire.
Digital wigs will be fire. There will be
He's
no
not gonna fix
loose
it.
lace fronts. It will all be tightened up. And
No, it
even
won't
as
be.
Mo just said, if he goes back and sees the scene where Taraji was acting too wild in a bank or crying too much or whatever, he can say, you know what? I'm gonna redo that whole scene, and it's not gonna
Y'all don't
cost
watch
him to
enough
have to
Tyler
bring the people
Perry.
back.
He's not gonna fix none of that because he's
He
trying
might
to get it
not.
out
He
in
might not.
2.2.
No,
But
no,
I hear
he may
what your
not
point, but
fix
he
it.
ain't gonna fix it.
He doesn't have to fix it, but it could be one less location shoot or 10 fewer
Right.
Y'all don't watch
location
enough
shoots.
Tyler
No.
Perry
And anyone,
because it's
it
all
could be
around the same corner.
Marvel
He
films.
just adds a plant and he thinks it's a whole different location.
Yeah, no, but the point being that
I-
even when you look at studios like Marvel, who spend
Okay, now we're
gobs of
talking.
money to do their films, and you look at the new mission of the new person in charge of Disney as a whole. I cannot remember her name to save my life, but one of her first missions, and this was in the New York Times, it was in LA Times, it was all over, that was interviewing her, talking about what her first missions going into Disney is going to be, is that the implementation of AI into film production. Disney's just the first studio to admit that they are going to be using AI in production. Everyone else is going to as well. Something that when you look at, the Writers Guild and this guild and that guild and the other, and no AI, da 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 da. And studios are basically saying, yeah, but we're going to use AI. So I don't know what we're going to do about it, guys, but you guys got to get used to it, especially if everything's going to streaming. Shit.
Well, and when you think about it, we're already a real threat is to the VFX artists who are, I mean, so many movies are shot on green screen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's people doing stuff in post. And this is no knock. People who are professionals do this, but they're already using computer tools. It's not like they're sitting there and painting these individual buildings by pixels. You know, they're already using some version of machine automation. If they build a city, even if they take the time to build a city in full 3D, which I don't think is probably happening very much anymore. I think there's already some AI doing that, but they're not building like matte shots anymore. They build something in 3D and then they say, here's a virtual camera, and the camera's moving in sync with the camera that's tracking the actor. And so there's already a measure of automation in it. And now, to your point, Twala, what studios are saying is that, I mean, if I can say futuristic landscape with bat plane flying through it, as a
Right.
and it gets rendered in 15 minutes, as opposed to, you know, paying a dude to do something that looks exactly the same. This is going to be gradual, is what it's going to be. And I can see something like Mo was talking about in Spider-Man: A New Beginning. There will not be a need for a reshoot, especially since Spider-Man, when he's doing stuff, is already CGI anyway,
and wearing a mask,
except for the mask. So even if it's a rear shot, there aren't going to be any more rear shots that are going to be reshot. It's going to be CGI back of somebody's CGI head, and maybe dubbed with CGI samples of the actor's voice. What I have seen in terms of, you know, you won't even have to do looping, and maybe some actors might like that. You know, can you imagine Michael Caine or Sam Jackson saying no to not having to come in if they got the check already? Like, I mean, it's and there's a democratization of the production of content, I think, that is somewhat exciting. And my sister has an idea that she would like to get made, and, you know, I think she could knock it out of the park with $2 or $3 million, but she's been lowering her sights to like $200,000 just because it's an independent feature. And I'm like, if you're using these AI tools, you could make it look exactly how you want it to look. And it wouldn't cost $5 million. And so as a young filmmaker, why would you avoid using that tool? And from the perspective of a major studio, why would you spend $60 million on Mercy when you could do it for 125? And pay the actor, like that, such as it was, because it wasn't a whole lot of acting. That movie was terrible. I did finally watch it. It was horrible. But you had an actor, Rebecca, who played the AI judge. She was playing a character that was supposed to be flat because it was supposed to be AI. And then you have Chris Pratt being flat because he can't act. Terrible. And so it was an awful movie. So why would you spend $60 million on that if you could get it done for $1 million? Why?
And they spend so much on that, and you could tell.
Yeah, it was $60 million.
And that's way too much for a film that takes place in one or two places.
More than $60 million.
I mean, that's a lot. That's $60 million plus, you know, marketing, advertising, and splitting revenue with a theater. I see apps like Seedance as just the beginning. It is the first salvo in a battle against the monopoly that Hollywood has over content creation as a whole. You know, a lot of these studios who are telling filmmakers who should be giving a shot, filmmakers who are coming with great ideas, who are being told no. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Mo, the gentleman who did The Best Man.
Malcolm Lee.
I remember you were talking to him, and you were asking, like, why did it take so long to get another one done? And it's the studio. The studio saying, nah, people don't want another one. And it's like, what are you talking about? The every time I've done one, they brought in a ton of money. But every time he does one, the studios are back to saying, I don't know. I don't know if people want another Best Man. But they did TV show time and time again.
The TV show was really good.
And the book they subsequently done, but that goes back to the democratization of all this.
Yeah.
I have a beef with the book.
Well, you take that up with Malcolm,
I do.
Okay? That has nothing to do with me.
No, actually has nothing to do with Malcolm. Actually, I have more of a beef with how he got it put out. But as a whole, no, the book was amazing. Waiting for the next one.
We have talked to several filmmakers. There was a point in time when we had a whole cast of Black creators come on the show, and I remember in Mo's conversation with Erica Alexander, and her husband, who did Eraser. He did the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. That was the one, right? Eraser with Vivica, not Vivica, but
Vanessa Williams.
Vanessa Williams.
Vanessa Williams
did that film and went back into the studio to say, like, hey, I got an idea about a sci-fi film, you know, starring this Black character and this, that, and the other. And he was told to his face, no. And when asked why, the studio told him, because African Americans do not get into sci-fi as a whole. They don't like sci-fi, so why would we back a film where we have a black sci-fi lead? That's going to be a no. And they told him this, not realizing he is black, because to look at him just off the cuff, you say like maybe you could be Italian, whatever. And they told him this kind of like, hey, we're telling you this in confidence. You know, black people don't really like sci-fi. But he just did Eraser, and it's like, wait a minute, wait, how are you telling me anything? I just gave you guys one of your biggest films with Schwarzenegger in a minute, and the film was great, and people loved it. Now you're telling me they don't want to see anything else?
Also, Blade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
on
the thing that I really am straddling the fence on this, because I am of two minds. It is scary to me, but I guess as a black creative, the democratization kind of excites me, because I put in the chat a trailer for a movie, Is God Is.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of movie that you might, I mean, it's independently produced, but you've got some big names in that. Sterling K. Brown. You've got Vivica Fox as a character. And it looks like a meaty kind of, it's kind of like a Black Kill Bill sort of thing, kind of.
Yeah. And it has what's her name that everyone's in love with right now. From One Bell After Another, the sister. One Bell After Another.
Yeah. Tiana Taylor.
Yeah, it has Tiana Taylor in that one. Yeah, I think
she's in that too.
I think it's either her or the other really wild singer, who's kind of like
Erica Alexander's in it, actually. I think she plays a kind of an evangelical preacher character that's married to the father. So the point is that this is a movie. You think of movies like Queen and Slim and other stuff like that might not happen if you were depending on a studio.
Oh no, Janelle Monáe. Yeah, Janelle Monáe.
So I think there's like with anything, the tool can be abused or the tool can be used.
No, absolutely. I'm just, popping my popcorn and ready to sit back and watch it all go down, because I've seen it before. I've seen it before. And while the music industry did not want to pay attention to the advancements of digital technology and they want to thumb their nose at it, I mean, it is, when was the last time you saw a Tower Records or a Warehouse Music or any of these big record stores that at one point is where we got all of our music? Right now, music record departments and marketing and promotions departments, they've gone from having entire staffs to having a person who is just emailing music to music directors and program directors and DJs. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we saw an entire industry destroyed, just devastated, because they ignored the use and the proliferation of digital media. They just did. And I think Hollywood right now is busy telling everyone, we'll never accept AI. And it's like, okay, cool. You don't have to, because once the people do, then what are you going to do? Are you going to be able to come back and put the shit back in the horse? You're not. You can't.
Unless you're Matt McConaughey.
Oh, yeah.
And Matt said, he's like, I own my own likeness. So he's like, you can use me, but you're going to pay me.
But he's also heavy into AI. I think he's been personally ahead of the curve in this regard, seeing where his own industry is heading. And I would add this, that we know how this story is going to end. Greed is going to win out. Because of the greed of the industry previously, individual creators, to Tom's point, are going to explode like never before and don't give a fuck what happens to the studios. The greed of the studios inevitably is going to lead to job losses within the industry, within the studios, job loss of actors and actresses, because greed is going to win out. Be damned what they say publicly. You just know where they're going with all this financially.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that's out there right now that I'm seeing on Netflix and every other app that looks like it's already being used, or they're already using pure AI to create a lot of this stuff, especially a lot of stuff that they're bringing over from Asia. A lot of these newer martial arts films that they're bringing over, and a lot of these really deep sci-fi films that they're bringing over from Asia on Netflix, they look like they're shot all, on green screen, and then
Yeah.
all the production is done through AI. But it is what it is. Speaking of which, Dr. Liz, what are you watching on Apple TV?
Interestingly enough, that you say, I don't know if any of you have watched what happened with Monarch. So Monarch is coming back this week, and 2
Oh,
days
the Godzilla
ago,
show.
they the Godzilla show on drone. They had the biggest drones ever, and it was really cool. They did add a little AI into this where you got to see the fireworks to make it look like Godzilla was blowing stuff up. It looked amazing.
Wow.
The drone show looked amazing. So Monarch is coming back this week. I There's a couple shows that came back that I was kind of surprised. And I thought of Mo's comment about um, what happened with Shrinking. Michael J. Fox came back this week, which was even more touching. But I actually spent more time in the theaters. Irony.
Really?
I went
Wait,
to
what's in theaters?
see I saw 2 movies actually in theaters. One of which is because there's a lot of horror that's out right now. So I saw Goat, which is Steph Curry's new movie, which was actually really pretty good. I mean, yes, it's predictable, but to me, I thought it was nicely cast. Of course, he casted himself and his wife. Why not?
Hmm.
But they were really lesser characters. His wife was definitely, I don't even remember her talking, but it was really a nice little cast. It was a good little show that tries to inspire young kids to never give up on your dreams, especially when you're a little. So, as a person who has a little boy who's addicted to basketball, who practices 4 hours a day on basketball. It spoke to him. He was inspired. I thought it was a cute movie to keep the adult entertained. There was another movie that came that I also dropped, that some of you may be interested in. Oh, never mind. Oh, Crime 101.
That's
I
the
thought
Halle
Crime
Berry.
101, that was Halle Berry movie. I was intrigued. It was long.
Wait, that's the Halle
I'll
Berry.
put
That's the one with
that.
Hemsworth, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
It was over 2 hours. It reminds you of Heat. So for those of you who like Heat, which I did, however, the ending is, I think, much more satisfying than
Interesting.
the Heat ending. So I thought that that was a better nice little end. I thought it was very intriguing. However, I can get where if you aren't interested in a slow burn, but it was consistently a nice burn, then maybe this movie's not for you. And my final little tidbit, I love sports history. And for years, I have been looking for something that was satisfying about the ABA. And they have finally touched gold by doing an Amazon on Amazon Prime. It's called Soul Power. And I love how they talk about the creation of the ABA to the end of the ABA, and especially even the sad part about how some of the those basketball players who were not brought into the ABA. They do a
Hmm.
nice job in looking at the ups and the downs of ABA. And they also do a great job at looking at the racism that was involved in the NBA and how some of these fellas, these men, had to go all the way to the Supreme Court because the NBA was really dominating and trying to stop the ABA and Black people from participating as much. It is such a good TV show. It's 4 episodes, about 30 minutes each. Such a good watch.
Wow. I know you were anticipating watching at least 1 or 2 films on your flight, Tom, but have you been catching anything else up?
Yeah, so I got to see about 7 minutes of F1 because my headphone jack wasn't working. And then, of course, I had queued up a whole bunch of stuff to watch on my return flight. So maybe I'll be able to see something tomorrow. But I am watching. I still haven't finished Hijack. So
Okay.
I need to close that out. And I am enjoying that still. So I do highly recommend people hop on to Hijack just because much like Luther, it's nice to see Idris doing his thing in a character that is appealing, and it does have strong links to the last season, and so it's an enjoyable watch. And they kind of inverted it because in the first season it was all about why are these people doing it, so we already know why the people are doing it, and then we just find out that Idris is involved in a very different way this season. So if you haven't started it, I do recommend watching it. And other than that, I mean, I'm very intrigued with Is God Is. That's why I put the trailer in the thing. It's coming in May. I'm still very excited to watch They Will Kill You, even though I think we've all seen the entire movie in the trailer. I love Zazie Beetz, and so
Yeah,
I'm looking to see her kick some ass.
just the bloody goodness of it all. What you watching, Mo?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, I was kind of hate watching The Night Agent season 3 with my wife because I liked the first season. I hated the second season, and I didn't know if I had reason enough to watch the third. So The Night Agent tomorrow, season 2, February 23rd, Paradise on Hulu. If you've missed that on the first season, shame on you. Shame on
I know
you.
that's right.
We're going outside the bunker for season 2. Watching that, and it's Dr. Liz talked about Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I think comes out on the 27th. So that is what I'll be sitting with. And honestly, thank you, Dr. Liz. I didn't know until I brought it up today, you brought up today that you had seen it, that Crime 101 was actually only available in theaters, because every promo and trailer I saw, I said, oh, that's got to be a streaming movie. And so I was looking for it on Netflix, and I was looking for it on Amazon Prime. I should come across it because it's like, no way they put that in theaters. So, but 2 things. One is how we perceive of consuming content has changed, where you just don't assume that because it's big budget and it has stars that it's only going to be in theaters. You don't have to think that way anymore. And also, a lot of us are just comfortable with not necessarily going to the theater at all.
And to that point, I know Tom had saw Mercy, and then he turned around and told us like, "Hey, yo, Mercy's already available at home." Like, I think it damn near was either the next week.
It was terrible. It was not good enough to be.
But that's crazy. Like, it was only in a week before I actually looked up, and I was like, "Wait a minute, it is available at home." But crazy.
Crime 101 is good enough to watch in the theater. That Mercy was not.
Interesting. Okay. Look, I'm not
and
watching
Mercy is one of the few movies.
A big drop.
Wow.
And so it'll probably be available for streaming quick.
But Mercy,
and it's another Amazon MGM movie. So yes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, for sure. But Mercy also was trying to do this innovative technology thing where it was 4D IMAX. So because the whole purpose is he's sitting in the room by himself and is trying to do this 360 kind of where it's supposed to be where we're immersed in the because I did that I told you guys I did that over that free movie, not that free movie, that mystery movie, and they did the mystery movie in 4D IMAX. It's not worth it. This wasn't it.
Yeah, and even the whole idea of doing 4D as yet another reason to get folks into theaters. You got to think like the 4D is not, it's not, I don't want my seat shaking for the entire damn film. I don't want that. I don't want shit spraying at me while I'm watching a movie. Like stuff like that
I
that's a lot,
disagree.
man.
I did the
No.
Godzilla one, the Godzilla King Kong movie in 4D. That was amazing. I thought it was cool
Mm.
during the fight scenes. But I'm just saying I think it just depends on the film. And I'm saying that this film doesn't do enough to get you in the story is kind of subpar because it's like we've seen it.
Mo over there with his blanket. I love it.
I know.
You know, it's
We've seen it,
interesting.
so it's not good enough.
Typically I'm all about anime, but my son hasn't been over for now a few weekends now, so we've been missing out on all the anime because I don't watch without him. But I have actually been, I mean, I'm just all in on Cross season 2.
Mhm.
Yes.
Cross is, I mean, this show is on fire. Every episode, the acting, the intensity, the story, Cross is absolutely superb.
Yeah.
The brotherhood in this story. I mean,
It is.
there are more than a few moments in this series that hit home for me, just as a man, and just some of the things that these characters are dealing with. I'm just like, and the honesty that they're having in these moments, I'm like, wow, man, I feel a little vulnerable right now. I don't know.
That's it, Tuala. It's not the honesty, it's the vulnerability. You're seeing grown-ass black men crying, dealing with internal issues, loss, grief. You just don't see that on the screen.
Yeah.
So the depth that they've added to Alex Cross as opposed to Tyler Perry's Alex Cross is that it's a fully fleshed out
Let's not talk about
character
that.
with backstory and an emotional set to match. I love the show.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
It's
one
very
right
good.
there is it's something that I look forward to. I'm like excited when I see that a new episode has popped up. Loving that. I took the time to watch Butterfly. I don't know if you've ever watched that one, the Daniel Day Kim series on Prime, where
Not yet.
he's a former, he helped to create this new special ops government agency, and he was betrayed, and so he fakes his death, and then he comes back to protect his daughter and get her out of the clutches of the organization he created, and blah blah blah. It's, you know, it's a low budget Mission Impossible-esque kind of series where a lot of things are happening where you're like, eh. But it's a cool watch if you got time to kill. Butterfly on Prime is also good. Okay. Special shout out to my homegirls, Neil Anderson and Dominique DePrima, who put together a stellar, and when I say stellar, I mean a stellar look at the Black Lives Matter movement from its inception, the work that went into it, all of the organizers and everything that happened to ultimately have the organization stolen right out from under them from some of the most unscrupulous individuals you would ever see. I am someone who, and I told both Dominique and Niall Anderson this after screening, I am someone who was always critical of Black Lives Matter because of some of the what I perceived to be failing, some of the things that I saw that were not working in my, uninformed opinion. And watching this film, the way they told the unflinching, unapologetic truth about everything that went wrong within the organization and why and how, and I really walked away from that screening at the Pan African American Film Festival, where I said to myself, wow, I thought I knew, but I actually had no idea. And so I thank them truly for opening my eyes to a look at an organization. And of course, we now know the world over, but many of us don't know why we know it the world over or what went into it outside of a hashtag. And I thought that they did a very, very good job with that. So hopefully, if you're able to catch it, it is called Stolen, and they are doing screenings of it now at PATH. And look it up. Just Google it, Stolen. So that was phenomenal. Yeah. I believe, Tom, this is next week. Is it They Will Kill You? Are we still deeper into March? Bro, I'm dying to see this one.
You are jumping the gun on that movie hard, bro. It is.
I need to see it in the worst way. I need to see it.
No, I need to see it too, but your anticipation is driving interest in it. It is nowhere near being released.
Oh, man.
Nowhere. And I will tell you, as a matter of fact, hold on, just so we can set it, we can set it to rest.
Yeah.
Because it's not for a while, bro.
Every week I be looking like, where is it?
It's a whole month from now. March 27th.
March
27th.
March 27th.
Like Easter weekend.
Wow. And so we really don't have anything coming out, because I'm looking right now, even on the coming soon.
Well, we got Scream.
I don't watch Scream. I watched the first Scream. Literally, I'm serious, Liz. I've only seen the first Scream. And to know that there are 5 more before you get to this one now, which is the 7th. Oh, wow. No, I'm
I will say this. I have watched more of the scary movies than I have watched of Scream, but I did watch the last one, Scream 6 with Wednesday, and I thought it was a cool take. And now that they're bringing Neve Campbell back, and it's kind of like on the Halloween thing where Neve has a daughter and he's trying to kill the daughter and and you've got Gail Cummings is back, or Gail Weather, whatever her name is. She's back. So you have Courtney Cox back in the mix. So to me, I think it's pretty cool that they've got a nice throwback, and it looks like it's well done.
Okay.
Some tropes, obviously, but it does look like it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I also would like to see the Don't Die movie with Sam Rockwell.
Oh, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck, Have Fun,
and also the How to Make a Killing movie, which is continuing the unfortunate trend of that actor underperforming box office. But I am looking forward to that. And apparently Melania has been pulled out of release. So
completely out of
right now. Melania is not playing anywhere, which is not surprising.
Because
you can only keep a lie going so long. You cannot keep a lie going that long.
That lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see Cold Storage because my daughter wants to see that. And I want to see Midwinter Break.
Oh, yeah.
But I also want to see what Tom is saying, How to Make a Killing.
Oh, Liz, I'm going to send you a link because I cannot go to see this, but you can, because you have children that are within the age range. There is a special screening of the new Henry Cavill Voltron movie happening this week. It is a special screening for parents with children, 8 to 12. So I'm all out of and you can't go by. So I was like, well, I just want to go. They're like, no, this is a screening for parents who are bringing their children between the age of 8 and 12. So, so you can go check this out. Henry Cavill and Sterling K. Brown are the two big names in this film. It's a Henry Cavill. He's like all in on this. He's really been the one behind it, but it's Voltron. It is a live action interpretation of this film, and I am dying to know what this film is about. So I'm gonna send you the link so you can go and see that. That I believe is Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, but before we head out, the biggest news of the day is what happened with Sinners.
Wait, what happened with Sinners? What happened?
What happened with
Sinners?
Sinners?
A bunch of bastards, didn't they?
Yes, they did. But at
oh yeah, you're talking about
the event.
Oh, Tourette's, yes. With that,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Tourette's guy.
yeah.
Yes.
What? Oh, okay. Well,
The dude
someone has
with
So
Tourette's?
there's a
Tourette's.
Tourette's
Think of
movie,
a
and the
man.
guy was nominated in the Tourette's movie, so he's in the audience, and Delroy Lindo and Michael Jordan are on stage, and supposedly, allegedly, because of his Tourette's, he couldn't control himself and started saying the N-word profligately. And one of the comments that I saw on the thing was, well, what other words was he saying?
I will, as
Jamie
someone
Foxx.
who has,
Jamie Foxx went off.
yeah,
In
look,
Jamie
I
Foxx
have,
went off
I have worked
online.
with young people with Tourette's, and it is absolutely the rhyme and reason and where these specific words that they may get stuck on come from. Who knows? But I have worked with several young people who have Tourette's, and the tics are uncontrollable, and their word choices are also as uncontrollable when they are coming out. And there are things that I've been called, what did this young man used to call me? Dirty bitch fucker. And he would say it all the time: dirty bitch fucker, dirty bitch fucker, dirty bitch fucker. And he would come out of these tics, and just his conversation was normal. It's when it hits. And so if there is someone in the crowd who who does have Tourette's and was shouting that out, okay, that's.
So here's the thing. I'm not disputing that he has Tourette's. The whole movie was predicated, it was his life story. So he's a grown-ass man. And my thing is that if you're a grown-ass man who has Tourette's, you need some coping mechanism, even if it's a ball gag, so that you don't act out. And if you do start to act out, then shove that piece of orange in your mouth so that you're not saying it constantly.
Yeah.
Or get your ass up and leave.
It doesn't work like that, Tom. It is literally an involuntary. When I say involuntary, you have no control.
So when you know that you have an involuntary tick, then go with a gag, go with a mask over your mouth so you can bite your thing, or don't go in there until it's time for you to go on stage.
You also, I mean, that I don't ascribe to that, and I don't agree with that at all, because that is to limit and that is to punish someone who has a valid disability. You're telling someone with a valid disability that they cannot be in a place where they should be to be able to accept an award or to be a part of a presentation of a film that may be about their life. That is a no. We cannot do that in life.
No,
we just can't.
No, like I said, then don't be in the audience doing it. When it's your time to receive your award or during your nomination, that's fine. But now you're interrupting and stepping on. You're not there. Your disability doesn't trump the ability for other people to enjoy their moment.
Yeah,
now, I'm not saying people who are in wheelchairs or anything else can't be in spaces, but this is beyond that.
No, but you are. But you are. That is saying the exact. It is telling someone with a disability that they cannot be in a place because it may disrupt other people's fun.
And I will say that they handled it with such grace. They handled it with such grace.
Well, Alan Cumming tried.
You know why? Do you know why they handled it with such grace? Because they've been called it before, and there is you don't react the same way. There is no shock. There is no anger.
Yeah.
There's it's Tuesday. That's
Look,
what I meant when I saw it. It's like it did not faze, flap them in any way, because I think there's a degree of familiarity with it, unfortunately.
And I mean, if you look at how individuals need to react in a moment when something like that happens, I can point to a time when Mo Kelly was in an interview with one of the most despicable people to ever live. Yes, Roger Stone, who in an interview, and we're live on the air, and this is not even a hot mic moment. This individual thought that he had stepped away from the mic or whatever, and literally told his handler or whoever, when Mo was pressing him on some questions that he needed to answer, he literally stepped away from the mic and said, I don't want to talk to this Negro. Why am I even talking to this Negro right now?
I'm sure he didn't say Negro.
No,
it was
he didn't.
Negro.
Yeah, he did.
We got the audio.
And not with the ER?
No.
No.
And
It's Negro.
when Mo pressed him, Mo said, excuse me, Mr. Stone, what did you just say? What, Mo, wait, what? What? I was, and Mo literally kept it going as if nothing was said at all. What I was saying was, and pressed him even harder, had him squirming in his seat with nowhere to go. You know, and
See,
these
my
are the
thing,
moments in life where we have to handle this.
I appreciate both sides, but you know, and this is not a comparison to say that I have a disability or anything, but my rule of thumb as a mother, it has been, I love my kids, but other people don't love them. And so if my kids interrupt somebody else, we out. Even though I may not be happy about it, even though I'm disappointed with my children, you know, especially when they were really young and they were kind of uncontrollable sometimes, I'm out. They cry. Of course they're going to cry. Because I did not want my beautiful kids to interrupt somebody else's day and to disrespect anybody else's moment and to do anything to that effect. I'm out. So if I have to stand outside and wait until something, I have to be a little bit more accommodating. And unfortunately, this guy is now going to be labeled, even though it may not be what he, you know, even with a disability, he's going to be labeled, and all these other people around him that have apologized for him is going to be labeled something that they may or may not be. I think that the need for pressing to be there has now turned into, this is no longer his story. His story is now trapped up with A-list art, A-list individuals, because it's number one, it's heard around the world. There's a segment now that has gone all viral, and you're having A-list celebrities like Jamie Foxx, who is going ham in the comments about him. And that's, you know, that's the unfortunate part. Not only the disrespect, but, you know.
Yeah, and to me, when I
long-term implications.
when I see someone like a Jamie Foxx or any of these other individuals going off, and then I look at Jamie Foxx's comedy special, which was primarily in front of a non-black audience, and he is using the N-word like it's the only word he knows how to use nonstop in his comedy show. I really don't want to hear from you, Jamie Foxx. I just don't. I don't take the offense of the N-word from someone who makes it part of their comedy show. I don't take you serious. To me, you're not serious, and you're not the one to speak on it. I really don't listen to anything that someone like that has to say, because you're not.
Well, as a person who doesn't
talk.
use the word at all and tells everybody I talk to that I call it the not word because I don't think it should be a word. I feel that in every aspect of my life, I am as sensitive to the needs and rights of others until they impinge on the rights of others. So there's no problem with any person existing in any space. When you are existing in that space, when you begin to disrupt the space, just as if a person without a disability disrupted something in some way. I saw a clip of a woman who was drunk on a plane, and she threatened that there was an explosive device on the plane. And they dragged her out, and she said, it's going to explode. It's going to explode. Now that woman can't fly ever again. Maybe she has an alcohol intoxication problem. Maybe she has a disability in how her body processes intoxicants. I don't know what it is. But what she did was she caused everybody on that plane to have to be deplaned. And now she is facing criminal consequences. So yes, I recognize you have a disability, and And this award ceremony was not about the disability. This award ceremony was about your movie. And so when it's your time, get on stage. If you're on stage talking about your movie and being a part of your movie and your tics manifest, that's fine. But in the middle of somebody else's time, for you not to have the personal consideration, if they were presenting the award to him, that would be one thing. They were accepting their own thing for their own work. And so you should have the presence of mind, in my opinion, to say, I know I have a tic that can be disruptive. I don't want to harm anybody else's experience. So I'm going to step out so that I don't do it. And if he did that throughout the show and was out there saying the effing B word that you said you have been called by people with Tourette's, and that was the thing, that's not the story, though. The story is that he did it when these black men were on stage. And I haven't heard there. I'm sure there were other women in pretty dresses at the BAFTAs. I didn't hear that he said anything. And so either somebody said after he did that, look, bro, you got to chill. We got to put you in the green room. We can't have you in the audience until it's your time. It was handled, because I have not heard that there was anything said about a Chinese person or any other person. The thing that stood out was that he made a personal reference to these black men. And I know it's unintentional. I know it's a word that's in his head and he doesn't have the ability to control that. I don't dispute that. I don't think that I believe that it is legitimate and that Tourette's is a real thing. I absolutely do. However, that does not mean you can just live your life disrupting everybody else's life. Sometimes there are consequences.
Can I jump in there?
And sometimes, yes. Yeah, go ahead, Mo.
I'm going to actually be an advocate for you, Tom. And this is where I agree with you, Tom. Let's just say you have Tourette's. Don't you have a higher responsibility to consider, let's say, going to a movie and sitting in a theater with other people as to how your Tourette's may disrupt the movie-going experience for others? Isn't that fair to Walla to have that person who has Tourette's ask him or herself to do that?
I don't know. I don't know if that's fair. I really don't know. And I don't know if anyone on this panel can even ask until you actually experience and maybe live with, work with, or are around people with Tourette's. I don't think anyone on this panel should even broach that question. It's an unfair question to ask because you don't know what it's like and you don't know what you're asking. Asking someone to consider how to be, asking someone to consider just going somewhere to enjoy a movie like everyone else. You're saying, hey, you may not be like everyone else.
Wait.
It is, because if you are saying that shouldn't people who have a disability consider how their disability affects others? Because that's all I just heard said. Shouldn't people who have a disability consider how their disability impacts others? Why should they? That's the answer, Mo. Why should they? Why should someone that has a disability have to worry about how we react to it?
The one difference I would say is that there are very few disabilities that have as much outward impact as this particular thing. So it's not every disability. They make accommodations in movie theaters for people in wheelchairs. They have whole ass sections at every AMC theater. So they accommodate. They have ramps inside. They have elevators. All sorts of things. Listening devices for the deaf.
They even have special screenings.
All sorts of things to accommodate disabilities.
They have
the
special
challenge for
screenings
me
for
is that
individuals
this
with
disability,
autism. Yes,
this disability almost inevitably disrupts any environment that is communal. Inevitably, it does. But if you have the sort of Tourette's that also causes you to there's stages. It's a spectrum, just like almost anything. And so some people have more severe impacts than others. There's a guy, one of my favorite content creators. I'm 6'7". He's the guy who says, sensational. He's got Tourette's, but he edits his videos in such a way, obviously it's not as severe. So he edits his videos in a way that you can't see it. And as a content creator, until I saw the episode where he addressed it, I never would have known. And he lives and works and exists in his space. If there is a person And I think even to the extent of, let's say, somebody like the young man who had the mask syndrome or the elephant man thing in a dark theater, that's not disrupting anything. But in a shared experience, which is predicated, they say silence your phones, and assholes who don't turn on their phones get the dirtiest, nastiest looks and jabs in the shoulders for disrupting a communal experience. A theater is uniquely communal. Just being out on the street and doing it, if you're in New York, nobody would mind. Nobody would care. They wouldn't give it a second thought. Women walk down the street in New York or in cities and get whistled at and wolf whistled and all of that. That is something that is not the same. But in a space where we are designed by the theater, there are rules of the theater. And the rules of the theater are: don't make noise, don't be distracting, let everybody enjoy. That's the baseline of the theater. Now, if just like a person in a wheelchair can't go on a roller coaster, there's some things you can't do if you're not able to do that. If you have a heart condition, if you're pregnant, there are things you can't do that other people do. You can't even fly in a plane if you're in the 8th month of pregnancy, unless you're being airlifted somewhere. So they're just things. Sometimes there are limitations, and human beings have chosen to accept those limitations to live in society. I'm not saying it's, I will say I understand your passion about defending those, especially people you have worked with. What I will also say is that I am passionate about I have always said, and I stand by this, your rights end at my skin. You don't have a right to disrupt me, no matter what your situation is. I don't have a right to disrupt you, no matter what your situation is. So if I were deaf and I couldn't hear anything, then maybe it wouldn't impact me at all. But I guarantee that if I, as a deaf person, couldn't hear it, but I could see the reactions of everybody around me, I would know something was going on. And maybe the person who was signing next to me to explain to me would be explaining how disturbed they were about the thing being disrupted. So sensitivity about the person, but if you are in a space and your condition obligates you in any way to behave in a way that is that disruptive, then I do think it's incumbent on you to think about it, just like I think it would be incumbent on me after I had my surgery to consider my impact if I had tried to bring a wheelchair into a place that wasn't particularly wheelchair accessible. I had tickets to Beyonce, and they did not have a wheelchair accessible seat in my nosebleed seats. So I chose not to go. I gave my ticket to my goddaughter.
Can I ask you,
it wouldn't have been fair.
Must be nice.
You one more question?
Must be nice.
Well, T, and I think you understand this. Both you and I know someone who's had a colostomy bag, right? Mm-hmm. And even though it may not have been something they were born with, but it would qualify as a disability on some level. It limits their ability to do stuff. And my friends, some of which passed on, some of whom have had colostomy bags, and they told me about the internal struggle they had about going to the movies, about whether it would smell, whether it would impact the other people around them. So I'm just saying, it's not demonization to say that maybe there is some level of responsibility to consider when it's not just about you. Because if you're going to the movies, you're obviously going to a communal environment. It's not like you're going and maybe someone else will show up. You know that in advance. I just want to ask you that question about the colostomy bag.
I think with colostomy bags, and I have actually even talked to a friend of mine who was shot 3 times, once in the stomach, and how he would deal with his. And there are a lot of things that you can do to try to keep it from leaking. There are a lot of things that you can do and need to do to maintain it, just to keep the cleanliness of it going. And I think that, again, especially in our society, I think that there is nowhere, not even a sliver of awareness of what it's like for individuals dealing with these conditions, be it schizophrenia, be it Tourette's, be it autism. I think that society at large is just really starting to become comfortable with understanding what some of these words may mean, but they still have no idea what it really means to be a parent who has an autistic child, trying to take them out to the store, to these communal areas, to the theme park, to the movies, whatever. I don't think society at large has enough understanding or empathy for it. And I think that is a fact. I think that we as a whole, we really lack a real true understanding and level of empathy for individuals who are dealing with these uncontrollable outbursts and their desire to do normal things like going to the movies. And I applaud theaters that do hold sensory friendly screenings for individuals with autism, where they'll have the lights up, they'll have the sound lower, and all these things so that individuals can go to the movies. But I recall being at a movie with my kids. We went to go see which one of it was the first Sonic movie. We're in there watching Sonic, and there was a man sitting, you know, we always sit in the back, but we couldn't get all the way in the back. So there was a man sitting right behind us who was experiencing tics. And at first, you know, our kids were like, you know, hey, should we move? What's going on? I said, no. And I explained to them, I said, no, this man is displaying Tourette's. And he leaned forward, you know, and he said, I'm so sorry. I'm not dangerous. I don't have a problem. And I'm like, sir, it's okay. You watch your movie. You watch a movie, and through the entire movie, he sat in the back and he did everything he could to try to keep his tics in. You could hear him back there just constantly just firing off things, you know. And again, I think, you know, from years of working within the special needs community, I have gained that level of empathy and understanding for what individuals like this are going through. So I have a different understanding. My defense of this individual does absolutely come from that place. And while I do understand everything you've said, Tom, I still stand, you know, 10 toes down on what I've said as well. And I don't think that there is a right or wrong in this. There is no right or wrong. There are just, you know, differences of how we see this moment, how we see this thing that has happened, you know.
I agree, but at the end of the day, you're going to have these two young men did not deserve to be called the N-word in the situation that they were in. They handled it with as much grace as they could, and you should see their facial expressions because, you know, this was definitely not what they signed up for in this situation.
No, absolutely not.
And then at the end of the day, the unfortunate part, secondly, is that he is going to be labeled him and his people are going to be labeled as a racist, even if they're not.
Even if they're not, yeah.
Because of the situation that took place. And I get that you may not, you know, consider Jamie Foxx as one of the people, but he is not the only one to have made comments. And
I'm sure. I saw him just out the gate, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I get that. But the bigger issue here too is that Jamie Foxx is still, amongst others, is still a credible force in the media industry. And this guy and his people are now going to have to deal with the ramifications of this that, you know, didn't necessarily have to be.
I'm sure.
I don't know if I could echo that sympathy. You know, I think there's only two victims in this. That's
fair.
You know, and they were on stage because I think being on a receiving end and what that does to a psyche when that specific insult is leveled, it's not just at the people on stage, it's everyone who looks like the people on stage. And I don't mean to say I like a Bill Cosby, but you get my point. The point is There were only 2 victims in it, and I don't want to give a false equivalence or equivocation, however you want to say it, about, well, it's sad for the perpetrator and the people who have to defend the perpetrator, however you want to call it, and it's sad for the people on stage. I think it's sad. I think it's reprehensible what happened to the people on stage, and the focus should be on them.
Yeah. And it sucks
Oh.
because it's on a night where they were award winning.
Yeah.
And that also, Ryan Coogler tweeted about what happened tonight. And that unfortunately adds even more sadness to he's the first Black man to have won original screenplay for Sinners. You know, and that has been completely overshadowed with you know, the major stars being called the N-word.
Let's not forget the ironic subtext of Sinners
For
and
sure.
its content, you know, juxtaposed to the moment.
Well, and I will say this, that in addition to the best screenplay thing, Wunmi Masako won. And the actor who portrayed the man who caused the outburst, and he said before the ceremony started, he said he was afraid that because of the environment with all the people and everything that was going on, that he might be more triggered than usual. So he was sensitive to the fact that there may be some complications, and made the choice to be in the space where he might cause a disruption, and did. But the other, I will take, because I want to try to shift the energy a little bit. I will take a win that Marty Supreme got locked out. Because
Sure
fuck
did.
that movie.
And you know,
that's always a good thing. That's always a good thing.
It got the highest
that's
number of losing. It got the highest percentage of losing than of any film ever.
Well, hopefully this rings true for the Oscars.
I think that was the exciting thing. So that Wunmi beat Teyana Taylor, and DiCaprio lost to this Brit. I mean, it's the BAFTAs, so I mean, it's not like exactly surprising that a British movie, a British actor won, but Wunmi, who is also a Brit, so you know, I wouldn't throw too many castings on that, as far as the Oscars are concerned. But you know, the BAFTAs are respected. And so I think it is kind of in keeping with what I suspected, that Coogler is probably a strong contender for Best Original Screenplay, if nothing else. And because I think One Battle After Another won for Best Film, I think. So that's not complete. Oh, no, Sean Penn won for Best Supporting for One Battle After Another.
And was
which
Delroy
also
in
was
it
a super
again?
surprise. I don't know if Delroy was. I mean, it seems like perhaps he might have been, since he was there to present. He was presenting for Avatar: Fire and Ash, actually. But they got 3 awards to Sinners and 3 to Frankenstein. Yeah. So yes. So One Battle After Another got Best Picture, Best Director, Adapted Screenplay, Cinematography, Editing, and Supporting Actor for Sean Penn. So it's still a big favorite, and I understand why. It is a film that is filming. It is filming all the filmy things. It's film malicious. So I understand that.
Hate that film so much.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. I'm so not a fan of One Battle.
This is Crash all over again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think there was more of a satirical edge to it than Crash. Crash is that was Feige, right? Not Feige, Figgis.
No. Yeah. But I mean, One Battle, the satire, it carried out like a lead fart. I mean, it was just dead.
But it's the better. I mean,
dead.
but to be fair, the people that we're nominated in that area, it's not the worst out of that Best Picture area. So, so there's that, because there's much worse in the Best Picture.
But they don't have the same type of heat behind it as Battle does. You know, Battle could mess around and win. And those other movies, like
I'll be
Hamnet
so
or whatever,
mad about
Yeah.
they're not no shot of winning.
Yeah, most
I'ma
of
be
those
so
other
mad
movies are
about it,
trash. They there's almost and I'm sorry. I think there are 2 foreign language films. I just don't buy it. Very small, little intimate foreign language films. You've got a huge box office smash that is also very critically and artistically acclaimed with more nominations than any other film. And then you've got the critical darling, which is One Battle After Another. And, and then you got Frankenstein, I guess, with, Guillermo del Toro, because he's a beloved Oscar-winning darling too. So you've got those are what I would say are the most conventional front runners. And you know where I stand. I went to my storage unit and I realized I have both of the Sinners popcorn buckets. I bought the smoke and the stack version, and I have the cup. And I went back when they offered the guitar.
And got the guitar.
What is your problem?
Your collection is out of control.
I ain't ashamed.
Your collection is out of control.
It has to be.
It is. And I ain't ashamed.
All right, y'all. Next week, hopefully we'll get some reviews of Scream 7 and whatever else.
I'm not seeing that.
Tom said he's gonna go see it.
Okay.
See what?
Scream 7.
Scream 7.
I'm gonna see what?
Scream 7.
Oh yeah, I'll see Scream 7.
Yeah, see, there you go, Liz. There you go. We're gonna get a review.
Bad. I'll see something else.
All right, y'all.
I'll
Dr.
try to see
Liz.
Crime 101 too.
Oh, well, boom. There you go. Well, plenty of shit.
Oh, good.
Just make sure you tune in. Thank everyone for tuning in tonight. We truly appreciate you. Tell a friend. We're here, Saturday, Sunday, whenever we can get it in. We do exactly that. Dr. Liz, take us out.
Good night, everyone.
Bo Kelly.
Multipass.
Tom.
Where is my Sinner swag suit?
In your
Excelsior.